Captain Elias Varon guided his small freighter, the Star Falcon, through the edges of the Ketheri expanse. Space here was not like the busy trade routes near the core worlds. The stars were distant, and shadows from drifting asteroids stretched across the ship's hull. Despite the quiet, Elias's senses were alert. He had spent decades exploring sectors where few dared to go. Humans had always been known for daring ventures, and he carried that legacy with pride. The console beeped softly, breaking the silence. A faint signal appeared, barely stronger than background static. Elias leaned closer, squinting at the holographic display. The pattern was unusual, and the voice it carried was trembling, almost desperate. He adjusted the receiver to filter interference and heard it clearly. "Help us. Pirates have captured us. Please help." Elias's heart quickened. Distress signals were not uncommon, but this one felt different. It was small, almost like a whisper, but it carried a weight that demanded attention. He could have ignored it. After all, pirates were dangerous, and small freighters like his were vulnerable. But the voice struck a chord deep inside him. Humans were known across the galaxy for courage, but it was also compassion that defined them. He could not turn away. He accessed the star charts and traced the signal to a nearby asteroid belt. The coordinates were hidden among drifting debris, suggesting someone had tried to hide their location. Elias studied the map carefully, noting the faint traces of warp energy scattered around. His instincts, honed by years of traveling remote regions, told him that the signal source was close, but danger waited for anyone who tried to reach it. Still, he adjusted the freighter's trajectory. The ship's engines hummed as it sliced through the cold darkness of space. Elias checked the ship's defenses, ensuring that the small plasma cannons and shield generators were ready. He did not want to underestimate potential threats, and humans had always survived by being prepared. As he approached the asteroid belt, the view outside the cockpit transformed into a chaotic field of floating rock and ice. Sunlight from a distant star glinted off jagged surfaces. Shadows shifted unpredictably, creating pockets of complete darkness. The freighter moved carefully between obstacles, each maneuver precise and deliberate. Elias could feel the tension in his chest, but he welcomed it. Challenges were what made humans remarkable. The signal grew stronger, indicating he was close. A sense of urgency filled the cabin. He noticed subtle signs along the asteroid's scars of laser fire, debris from broken equipment, and traces of energy pulses that suggested a ship had recently passed. Humans had always had an ability to notice details that others missed, and Elias relied on it now more than ever. He tightened his grip on the controls and prepared for the unexpected. Pirates were known for cunning and brutality. The voice that had reached him carried fear, and he knew those trapped depended on his skill and courage. Humans had a reputation for quick thinking and adaptability, and Elias intended to live up to it. Then he saw a faint glimmer among the rocks, a shadow of a ship, partly hidden behind an asteroid. The design was crude but heavily armed, with turrets and reinforced hull plating. Elias studied it, noting every detail, every weak point. The freighter was smaller and less powerful, but humans had survived impossible odds before. He smiled quietly to himself, thinking of the many stories of his ancestors who had faced stronger opponents and prevailed through ingenuity and determination. The distress signal continued, pulsing like a heartbeat. Elias activated the freighter's sensors, scanning the surrounding area. There was no time for hesitation. Every second mattered. Whoever had sent the signal needed help immediately, and humans had a reputation for acting when others hesitated. Elias Varon set the freighter on a careful approach, moving closer to the hidden pirate vessel. His mind was already forming a plan, calculating risks and possibilities. Humans were never the largest or the strongest, but they had a unique spark, a combination of courage, intelligence, and the will to act even when the outcome was uncertain. This spark would guide him as he prepared to confront danger, rescue the captives, and face the unknown in the shadowed reaches of the Cathari expanse. Elias Varon adjusted the controls of the Star Falcon, keeping the freighter steady as it glided closer to the hidden pirate ship. The asteroid belt was a dangerous maze, and every movement required careful calculation. One wrong maneuver could send the freighter crashing into a jagged rock or being trapped in the pirates' crossfire. Elias's hands moved with practiced precision. Humans had a way of solving problems creatively, and he relied on that skill to navigate this perilous environment. The pirate ship was partially hidden behind a massive asteroid. Its hull was dark, scarred by countless minor collisions, and covered in patches of stolen cargo. From a distance, it seemed almost abandoned, but Elias knew better. Pirates rarely left their prizes undefended. He activated the freighter's long-range scanners, sweeping the area for energy signatures. The results confirmed his suspicion. There were several small drones patrolling the perimeter, along with at least 2 armed guards inside the ship. The girls who had sent the distress signal were not alone, and the pirates would be ready to stop anyone who tried to rescue them. Elias studied the drones carefully. They moved in predictable patterns, and he realized there were small blind spots he could exploit. Humans were not the strongest creatures in the galaxy, but they had a talent for observation and improvisation. Using the freighter's maneuvering thrusters, he began plotting a path that would take him close enough to get a better look without triggering alarms. As he moved, Elias noticed other subtle signs. Dust clouds drifting in unusual directions suggested recent movement, and faint energy pulses indicated that the pirate ship had been running tests or calibrating weapons. Most aliens would have ignored these small details, but humans had long relied on noticing what others missed. He marked the positions carefully on the ship's navigation panel, creating a mental map of the pirate vessel and its defenses. Elias paused as the distress signal pulsed again, louder now. The urgency in the voice was clear. Whoever was trapped inside the pirate ship was counting on him. He could almost feel their fear radiating through the signal. Humans had a reputation for courage, but true courage was not only about facing danger. It was about acting for others, even when the risks were high. Elias knew he had to find a way inside. He decided to approach from an angle that took advantage of the asteroid's shadows. The freighter's small size allowed him to slip unseen between massive rocks, and he used the ship's stealth mode to reduce energy emissions. The pirate drones scanned the area repeatedly, but Elias had anticipated their patterns. Every movement of his freighter was deliberate, calculated, and cautious. After careful observation, Elias identified the pirate ship's weak points. There was a maintenance hatch on the lower side, almost hidden by a jagged asteroid. It seemed to lead directly to the interior without passing through heavily guarded areas. Elias smiled. Humans had always excelled at finding unconventional solutions to difficult problems. This hatch might be his entry point. He aligned the freighter and prepared the small boarding pod. The pod was no larger than a human-sized shuttle and equipped with magnetic clamps, cutting tools, and minimal defensive systems. It was not meant for direct combat but for precise infiltration. Elias checked the pod systems twice, making sure everything was in perfect order. The lives of the captives depended on his skill, and there was no room for mistakes. Elias's mind raced with possibilities. He considered the pirates' likely reactions, the time it would take to reach the captives, and the chances of being discovered. Every scenario required careful thinking, but humans had a history of overcoming impossible odds through creativity and determination. He adjusted the pod's course and began the slow descent toward the maintenance hatch. The pirate ship loomed larger as the pod drew closer. Its metal surface reflected the dim light of distant stars, and the hum of its engines vibrated through the hull. Elias felt the tension tighten in his chest, but he remained calm. The girls were counting on him, and humans had a way of rising to challenges that others thought impossible. As the boarding pod approached the hatch, Elias prepared for the next stage. Observation had brought him this far, but action would decide the outcome. He checked his tools one last time and reminded himself that courage, intelligence, and careful planning were the human strengths he had relied on for years. With a steady breath, he engaged the pod's clamps and attached it to the pirate ship, ready to begin the rescue that would change the course of many lives. Captain Elias Varen's boarding pod clung to the underside of the pirate ship like a shadow. The metallic surface vibrated under the hum of the engines, but the pod's magnetic clamps held steady. He activated the cutting tool, carefully slicing through the maintenance hatch without triggering alarms. Every movement was slow, deliberate, and precise. Humans had always survived by combining patience with intelligence, and Elias relied on that skill now more than ever. The hatch opened into a narrow, dimly lit corridor. The air smelled of oil, burned circuits, and recycled atmosphere. Elias moved forward, keeping close to the walls, listening for any signs of the crew. The pirates were experienced and dangerous, but humans had a reputation for ingenuity. He had faced impossible situations before and survived, and he trusted himself to do so again. As he progressed, Elias noticed doors along the corridor, each marked with crude symbols that indicated cargo or living quarters. He paused near one that emitted faint muffled sounds. His heart raced. Humans had always been able to sense urgency, and he knew instinctively that the captives were nearby. He listened carefully, adjusting the pod's tiny speakers. The sounds of soft whispers and the shuffle of movement confirmed his suspicions. Elias moved quietly toward the source. He reached a reinforced cell area where several small rooms were stacked with metallic cages. His eyes widened. Inside the cages were young alien girls of the Erythri species. Their silver hair shimmered faintly under the dim lights, and their crimson eyes reflected fear and hope in equal measure. They were huddled together, watching him with wide eyes as he approached. The girls' chains were heavy but not immovable. Elias examined the locking mechanisms carefully. They were advanced but not unbreakable. Humans had a talent for solving problems quickly, often using minimal tools to achieve maximum results. He retrieved a compact lock-disabling device from his pod, inserting it into the first lock. Sparks danced briefly as the mechanism clicked open. He worked efficiently, moving from cage to cage, freeing each girl one by one. The girls whispered questions and concerns, their voices trembling. Elias smiled reassuringly, showing calm determination. Humans had always been able to inspire confidence through courage and focus. He spoke gently, explaining that they were safe and that he was there to help. One by one, the girls began to relax, offering small nods and quiet smiles. As the last cage opened, Elias noticed a small child hiding in a corner. Her eyes were wide with fear, but Elias knelt down and spoke softly. Humans had a reputation for empathy, and he knew that kindness could calm even the most terrified. The child reached out slowly, trusting him enough to take his hand. Elias lifted her gently, adding her to the group of freed captives. The corridor beyond the cells led to a central control room. Elias needed to secure this area to prevent alarms from alerting the pirate crew. Using his human ingenuity, he hacked into the ship's control system. The screens flickered briefly, and then the security cameras went dark. The doors unlocked silently, and the path to the hangar was clear. Humans had always relied on creativity under pressure, and this moment was no different. The alien girls followed closely, moving quietly but with growing confidence. Their fear was slowly replaced by trust, and Elias could see the beginnings of hope in their eyes. Humans had a history of forming bonds quickly, even across species, and he knew that this trust was crucial for the escape ahead. Elias paused for a moment, looking back at the dim corridor. The pirate ship was dangerous, but he had achieved the most critical step. He had found the captives and gained their trust. Humans had always thrived by acting decisively and caring for others, and this moment reflected both. He led the girls toward the ship's hangar, ready to confront whatever challenges awaited them. Every step required caution, but Elias knew that with intelligence, bravery, and cooperation, humans could face any threat. The rescue had begun, and the spark of hope in the eyes of the alien girls reminded him why humans were admired across the stars. Captain Elias Varon led the group of freed alien girls down the narrow corridors of the pirate ship. Every step had to be measured. The ship was still dangerous, and alarms could sound at any moment. Elias knew the pirates were not far away. Humans had a reputation for clever thinking in tight situations, and he relied on that now more than ever. The hangar was their goal. It was where the pirate ships were stored and where escape would be possible. Elias paused behind a corner and gestured for the girls to stay silent. They crouched low, listening. Two pirates passed by, armed and alert. Elias timed their movement, counting the seconds between footsteps. Humans had always been able to read patterns, and he used this skill to guide them safely past the guards. Once the coast was clear, Elias led the girls to a small storage room near the hangar. He pulled out a few tools from his pack, portable sound emitters and small distraction devices. His plan was simple but effective. Humans had long used misdirection to overcome stronger opponents. Elias placed the sound emitters along the corridor leading away from their path. When activated, the emitters would mimic the noise of footsteps and machinery, drawing the pirates in the opposite direction. The girls watched in awe as Elias worked. Their fear had not vanished completely, but hope had begun to replace it. Humans were not just clever, they were reliable. Elias explained in gentle, clear words what they needed to do. The girls nodded, ready to follow his instructions. He emphasized calm and teamwork. Every human who had survived dangerous situations knew the importance of cooperation, and he trusted that instinct would guide them. With the devices in place, Elias activated them. The corridor filled with the sound of footsteps and clanging tools. The pirates immediately reacted, rushing toward the noise. Elias glanced at the girls and smiled. The distraction was working. Humans had always known how to turn chaos into opportunity. They moved quickly through the ship, keeping close to the walls and avoiding open spaces. Elias led them to a side corridor that descended toward the hangar bay. Along the way, they encountered more obstacles, locked doors, scattered debris, and occasional patrolling drones. Each challenge required careful thinking. Elias used his tools to unlock doors, disable drones, and create temporary hiding spots. Humans had always adapted to unexpected difficulties, and now his skills ensured the group stayed safe. Finally, they reached the hangar. The doors were massive and reinforced, but Elias quickly accessed the control panel and overrode the security protocols. The door slid open slowly, revealing the open bay and several smaller ships. One of the ships looked old but functional. Elias guided the girls inside, checking each system as he went. Humans had always thrived on preparation, and he wanted to make sure they could leave without technical problems. The girls settled into the ship, their nervous expressions slowly transforming into determination. Elias gave each of them simple instructions: stay seated, keep calm, and follow his lead. Humans had a reputation for courage in the face of danger, and he intended to inspire the same courage in them. Just as they were ready to leave, an alarm blared from deeper within the pirate ship. Someone had discovered the empty cells. Elias remained calm. Humans had always faced crises with quick thinking. He started the ship's engines and moved toward the hangar exit. The massive doors began to close behind them, and the sound of pursuing pirates echoed in the corridors. Elias piloted the ship with precision, weaving between support beams and cargo crates in the hangar. The girls held tightly to their seats, their fear mixing with excitement. Humans had survived countless dangerous missions, and this moment was no different. The combination of skill, bravery, and clear thinking would carry them through. As the Star Falcon finally cleared the hangar, Elias looked back at the pirate ship. It was still a threat, but their plan had worked. They had escaped the first danger, and the girls were safe for now. Humans had a reputation for turning impossible situations into victories, and Elias had proved that once again. He set the course for open space, preparing for the next challenge. The pirates would not give up easily, but Elias knew that with courage, cleverness, and determination, humans could face any threat. The escape had begun, and the bond between him and the alien girls grew stronger with every passing moment. The Star Falcon cut through the asteroid belt, weaving between massive rocks and floating debris. Captain Elias Varen's hands moved quickly over the controls, adjusting speed and trajectory with precision. Behind them, the pirate ship had detected the escape and was giving chase. Its weapons glinted in the dim starlight, but Elias remained calm. Humans had always faced stronger opponents and found ways to survive through clever thinking and skill. The alien girls watched from the cockpit, their faces filled with a mixture of fear and admiration. They had begun to trust Elias, realizing that his calm focus and quick decisions were keeping them alive. Humans were not only brave, they were inventive, and the girls had never seen anything like it. Elias activated the freighter's defensive drones. They were small, nimble, and equipped with signal jammers to confuse the pirate ship's sensors. The drones darted ahead, creating false energy signatures that made the pirate crew think the Star Falcon was moving in multiple directions at once. Humans had always excelled at improvising in the moment, and Elias was using every advantage available. The asteroid belt itself became part of their defense. Elias maneuvered the freighter through narrow gaps and sudden drops, forcing the pursuing ship to slow down to avoid collisions. The pirates struggled to keep up, their larger vessel less agile than the human freighter. Every movement Elias made reflected centuries of human adaptability, turning the natural dangers of space into a shield. One of the alien girls, named Lyra, leaned forward, her silver hair brushing against the console. "Captain, they are catching up," she whispered. Her crimson eyes were wide with concern. Elias nodded without taking his focus off the controls. Humans had a way of inspiring confidence in others even during the most dangerous moments. "Stay calm," he said, his voice steady. "Watch the patterns. We will outsmart them." He guided the Star Falcon through a cluster of small, fast-moving asteroids. The pirate ship fired its weapons, and plasma bolts exploded against the rocks. Sparks and debris flew across the cockpit window, but Elias's nerves were steady. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and this was no different. He calculated the perfect angle to use the asteroid field to their advantage, weaving between rocks that blocked the pirates' line of fire. The alien girls helped as best they could. They monitored energy readings, adjusted minor systems, and communicated potential obstacles. Cooperation between species was difficult, but humans had always thrived by working together with others. Elias felt a growing respect for their bravery and intelligence. Their teamwork added a new layer of strategy, enhancing his plans. As they neared the edge of the asteroid belt, Elias noticed a narrow canyon of space debris that led to open space. The pirate ship would have to slow down significantly to follow, giving the Star Falcon a chance to escape. Elias executed a daring maneuver, banking sharply through the canyon while firing brief energy pulses to create light distractions. The pirates hesitated for just a moment, enough for the freighter to surge ahead. Humans had always found ways to turn tiny opportunities into life-saving advantages. Once clear of the canyon, Elias engaged the freighter's short-range warp drive. The ship blinked out of the asteroid belt and into open space, leaving the pursuing pirate ship struggling behind. The alien girls cheered softly, relief washing over them. Humans had a reputation for endurance, intelligence, and courage, and they had just witnessed it firsthand. Elias allowed himself a brief smile. The chase was not over, but they had survived the most dangerous part. He looked at the girls, their faces bright with hope. Humans had always believed in protecting those in need, and this moment reflected that principle perfectly. "Good work, everyone," he said. "We are not safe yet, but we have a chance. Stay alert, and we will reach safety together." The Star Falcon moved steadily through space, the distant stars stretching past like silver threads. Elias knew the pirates would not give up easily, but humans had always faced adversity with determination and ingenuity. Every challenge was an opportunity to prove that courage and clever thinking could overcome even the most powerful foes. As the alien girls watched the stars pass by, they realized that they were no longer helpless. With Elias leading them, they had become part of a plan where humans and aliens could work together, surviving against incredible odds. This chase would be remembered not for fear, but for the skill, bravery, and spirit that only humans could bring to the galaxy. The Star Falcon floated in the calm of open space after the tense chase. Captain Elias Varon checked the freighter's systems, ensuring that everything was in perfect working order. The alien girls, still shaken but relieved, began to regain their composure. Humans had always inspired confidence through courage and careful planning, and Elias's steady presence reassured them. Lyra, the oldest of the girls, stepped forward. "Captain, we owe you our lives," she said, her crimson eyes filled with gratitude. "We never imagined that anyone would risk so much for us." Elias shook his head, smiling faintly. Humans had a reputation for bravery, but he had acted without hesitation because it was the right thing to do. Courage, after all, was not measured by recognition but by action. The girls explained that they were from Erythrea, a peaceful planet governed by the Consortium of Light. Their people had been kidnapped by pirates seeking to sell them for profit. The Consortium relied on diplomacy and defense fleets, but the pirates had found a hidden route through the Cathari expanse, avoiding detection. Elias listened carefully, absorbing every detail. Humans had always relied on observation and analysis, and he used the information to plan their next steps. Lyra continued, "Your skills are extraordinary. Not many could have outsmarted the pirates and freed us. Your actions show the courage and cleverness of humans. Elias felt a sense of pride but also a responsibility. Humans were respected across many worlds, but their reputation depended on the choices they made in moments like this. The girls led Elias through their systems, showing him how the pirates had operated. It was clear they were impressed not only by his bravery but by his methodical approach. He explained the human principles behind his decisions: careful observation, quick thinking, and cooperation. The girls listened intently, fascinated by the logic and ingenuity that humans applied even in dangerous situations. After some discussion, Lyra made a surprising suggestion. "Captain, you have shown that humans can be trusted and that your people possess skills that could help others across the galaxy. We would like you to come to Erythrea, to meet the Consortium of Light. Your actions deserve recognition, and there is much you could teach our people." Elias was stunned. Humans had always been explorers and problem solvers, but this was beyond anything he had expected. He considered the offer carefully. Accepting would mean leaving the Star Falcon and the familiar reaches of the Ketheri expanse. Yet humans had always thrived by embracing new challenges and opportunities. His life as a freighter captain had prepared him for uncertainty, and now he had the chance to build alliances and share human ingenuity with an entire planet. "Very well," Elias said finally, his voice calm but firm. "I will accompany you to Erythrea. Humans have always believed in helping others, and I see that this mission is not over. There is much we can achieve together." The girls smiled, relief and admiration evident in their expressions. Humans had a reputation for trustworthiness and honor, and Elias's decision reinforced that image. As the Star Falcon set a course for Erythrea, Elias felt a mix of excitement and responsibility. Humans had always faced the unknown with courage, and this journey promised to test every skill and principle he had relied upon for years. The alien girls, once frightened and enslaved, now worked alongside him, contributing their knowledge of the Consortium and the wider galaxy. Cooperation between species was not always easy, but humans had a way of forging trust quickly, and Elias used every opportunity to build it. The journey was quiet, but the atmosphere was filled with anticipation. The girls asked questions about human life, their technology, and their strategies in dangerous situations. Elias answered patiently, sharing what he could without overwhelming them. Humans had always valued learning and teaching, and this exchange strengthened the bond between them. When the distant blue glow of Erythrea appeared on the navigation panel, the girls cheered softly. Their freedom had led to a new possibility: friendship and alliance. Elias smiled, feeling the satisfaction of a mission accomplished and the promise of greater adventures ahead. Humans had always been underestimated by many species, but this journey was proof that courage, intelligence, and compassion could earn respect and trust throughout the galaxy. As the Star Falcon descended toward the planet, Elias knew this was more than a rescue. It was the beginning of a partnership that could change the balance of trust, cooperation, and hope among the stars. Humans had always thrived by acting when others hesitated, and now that principle would shine brighter than ever. The Star Falcon glided through the atmosphere of Erythrea, its hull glowing softly against the blue and green landscape below. Captain Elias Varan guided the ship carefully toward the designated landing platform. The alien girls, now free and safe, looked out at their home planet with awe and gratitude. Humans had always been admired for courage and ingenuity, but today, Elias's actions had earned respect that would last across worlds. When the freighter touched down, representatives of the Consortium of Light were waiting. Their uniforms were elegant, and their demeanor radiated calm authority. The leaders approached Elias, bowing slightly in a gesture of respect. Humans had a reputation for bravery, but the recognition he received now was unlike anything he had expected. Captain Elias Varon, a tall woman with silver hair and deep violet eyes said, "Your actions have saved lives and shown the galaxy the true potential of humans. You risked everything to protect others, and your courage and skill are a testament to your people." Elias felt a mix of pride and humility. Humans had always believed in taking responsibility, and this acknowledgement reinforced the values he had lived by. The alien girl stepped forward, smiling. Lyra spoke first. "Captain, you not only saved us, but you also taught us about trust, bravery, and hope. We are forever grateful." The other girls nodded, their eyes shining. Elias smiled, realizing that the greatest reward was not gold or medals, but the lives he had protected and the trust he had earned. Humans had always been capable of forming deep bonds, even across different species, and this was proof. The consortium invited Elias to a formal ceremony in the capital. As he entered the grand hall, he saw technology he had never imagined: energy grids, advanced medical systems, and starship designs far beyond the standard human freighter. The leaders explained that these tools could be shared with him and his people, a gesture of trust and alliance. Humans had always excelled at learning quickly, and Elias realized that the knowledge he would gain here could help countless others across the galaxy. During the ceremony, Elias was offered a unique role: ambassador and strategist. He would advise the consortium on matters of defense, trade, and exploration, helping to build bridges between humans and the various species of the galaxy. Humans had always been adaptable and inventive, and this position would allow him to apply those qualities in ways he had never imagined. Elias accepted the honor, understanding that his life had changed forever. He reflected on the journey from the distress signal in the outer rim of the Ketheri expanse, through the dangerous chase in the asteroid belt, to the successful rescue of the alien girls. Humans had always been underestimated by many, but moments like this proved their courage, intelligence, and compassion. The alien girls remained by his side, now confident and free. They shared their knowledge of Erythrea and the consortium, teaching Elias about their culture and technology. Humans had a history of forming strong partnerships, and this alliance promised to strengthen interstellar relations. Elias realized that his bravery had not only saved lives but also opened doors to cooperation that could change the galaxy. As the ceremony concluded, Elias looked out over the city. The sun reflected off the shimmering towers, and ships moved gracefully through the sky. Humans had always believed in exploring the unknown and helping those in need. Today, his actions had done both. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that courage, intelligence, and compassion had made a real difference. Before departing, Lyra approached him one last time. "Captain, your reward is more than recognition. It is the opportunity to shape the future, to show the galaxy the strength of humans. You are part of something greater now." Elias nodded, understanding fully. Humans had always relied on action, not words, to prove themselves. His life as a freighter captain had taught him resilience and ingenuity, but now he had the chance to leave a legacy. As the Star Falcon prepared for its next journey, Elias looked at the stars. The galaxy was vast and filled with challenges, but humans had a unique spark. It was a spark of courage, creativity, and determination. Today, that spark had saved lives, built alliances, and earned a reward beyond what he had ever expected. The adventure had ended, but the journey of humans across the stars was only beginning. Captain Elias Varon smiled, knowing that the future held endless possibilities. Humans had always been underestimated, yet they had the power to inspire, protect, and lead. The galaxy had witnessed their true potential, and it was just the beginning of what they could achieve.